Hey everyone, this is D, Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. So today I'm coming to you all with my newest trailer reaction, and I will be reacting to the trailer for The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn and starring Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, and Viola Davis. Let's get into it. Uh-oh, I see red. You already know what that means.
You gotta be kidding me. You're gonna risk the entire mission for a mental defective dressed as a court jester.
It's coming from a guy that wears a toilet seat on his head.
We don't leave one of our own behind.
Hopefully Harley's still alive.
No funny business, Arnold. These are dangerous people.
Team 2 is clear to go.
Fire on. 3, 2.
What are you guys doing?
What?
We're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
Well, I can go back inside and you can still do it.
That's patronizing.
I'm so sorry. Harley Quinn.
Bloodsport.
She's like, what is this?
You know the deal. Successfully complete the mission, you get 10 years off your sentence. You fail to follow my orders in any way, and I detonate the explosive device in the base of your skull.
So this is the famous Suicide Squad.
I love a good slow-mo.
Num num.
Any questions?
And
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
we're all gonna die.
I hope so.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Here's the deal. We fail the mission, you die.
If we find out any information you give us is false, you die.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
If you cough without covering your mouth.
Harley, although that isn't an open invitation for you to cough without covering your mouth.
What's the plan?
How the hell am I supposed to know?
You're the leader. You're supposed to be decisive.
And I've decided that you should eat a big bag of dicks.
If this whole beach was completely covered in dicks, and somebody said I had to eat every dick until the beach was clean for liberty, I would say no problemo.
Why would someone put penises all over the beach?
Who knows why madmen do what they do?
This is suicide.
Oh my God.
Don't you worry, eh? I'm gonna get you out of here alive.
I'm going to get you out of here alive.
Oh my God, we've got a freaking kaiju up in this shit.
Uh-huh.
We love the rain. It's like angels are splooching all over us.
That was a whole lot. But I think I'm here for it. So of course, this is the sequel to 2016 Suicide Squad, which was directed by David Ayer. David Ayer was originally set to return to direct this, but instead he opted out and chose to direct a Gotham City Sirens film, which I'd actually be really interested in seeing. So this time around, James Gunn is stepping in to direct, and many of you will know him as the director of the first two Guardians of the Galaxy films, two films I enjoyed immensely. So it looks like the only people we have returning from the first film are Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, and Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. Everyone else is completely new, and I'm excited to see that. It's interesting seeing Idris Elba in this because initially he was going to be the replacement for Will Smith as Deadshot, but then they decided to write him in as a completely new character named Bloodsport, which I think is a good idea because it leaves the door for Deadshot to return in a sequel down the road possibly, and we can see what the dynamic between the two of them might be at some point. And there also have been variations of members within the Suicide Squad. It changes from time to time, so for the most part, I think pressing the reset button and then bringing on an entirely new crew is a great idea. I think it's going to help bring a new perspective to this. It looks like this is going to be an entirely different experience from the first film, and I am excited to see what's going to happen this time around. We also have John Cena as Peacemaker, Sylvester Stallone of all people as King Shark, and Peter Capaldi as Thinker. When it comes down to the first Suicide Squad film, I think I was really hyped to see that, especially with the first trailer that came out. And because I wasn't familiar with Suicide Squad, this whole concept of all these bad guys coming together to do something good, so to speak, or to help save the world, I was really, really into that. So going in to see it, I was pretty hyped. My expectations were pretty high, and it really just did not meet them. Like, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but it just, I don't know, there was so much potential for the story, for the action sequences, for the characters. I was really excited to see all of these characters interact, and I think the three I was most excited to see were Enchantress, King Croc, and Katana. But unfortunately, all three of them were really disappointments to me, because Enchantress, I wasn't expecting her to suddenly become the bad guy. Or even if that was going to happen, I just felt like it was such a jump. It was like we didn't even get to see her as a part of the team. I wanted to see what that dynamic was going to be like, and then it was just like, nope, she's the bad guy. She's gonna take over the world. Now we have to destroy her. And I was like, okay. I just was expecting something else as far as who the bad guy was gonna be. And then King Croc, ugh. The idea of King Croc is great, but I just did not like the design and the dialogue that they gave King Croc. I was just like, ah. I promise you, when they asked each of them what they wanted, and King Croc said BET, I was like, why? Who sat down and said BET? That's the line. Like, I was so irritated by that. It really was a letdown. I think they could have really done a lot more with this character. And then Katana frustrated me because I felt like she was barely in the film, and I thought that she as a character and her backstory and her sword having the ability to trap the souls of her victims, like, I thought that was so cool, but she was barely in it. So that was frustrating. And then just overall, I don't know, like it just didn't do it for me. So I wasn't really excited about a sequel. And although this looks a little more interesting, I'm still iffy, because I'm like, okay, what is the vision for this? I just want it to be clear, because even with the first Suicide Squad, I still wonder if there was some kind of interference from Warner Brothers or not, because if you look at the first trailer for Suicide Squad, and you look at the second trailer, and then you watch the actual movie, it's clear that something from the beginning to the end completely changed. Like, the vibe was totally different. And it's funny because people are saying that Warner Brothers needs to release the David Ayer cut, and I'm like, oh boy. And I mean, we saw what happened with Zack Snyder, so I mean, anything is possible. But I wonder if it would really do anything for the film. I don't know whether or not it would have a huge bearing. I don't know if it would actually improve the film or not. But I will say that Zack Snyder's Justice League was a huge leap. Like, leaps and bounds ahead of Joss Whedon's Justice League. So I'm like, well, you never know. The only difference is there were no changes as far as the director. So I'm just kind of wondering about that. But I'd be interested in seeing that if possible. Who knows? And the only thing I know about the story this time around is that they are being sent in to destroy a Nazi-era prison and laboratory. So I'm sure there are going to be plenty hijinks that are going to result from that. So can't wait. This is really giving me like an Inglourious Basterds vibe, and not just because of the Nazi aspect, but I don't know, just something about it gives me that. And it is also giving me like a Tropic Thunder vibe also. So we'll see what the final film is like, but just off the rip, those are the first two films that came to mind. I ended up watching Batman Assault on Arkham and Suicide Squad Hell to Pay, and those were immensely more entertaining than the first Suicide Squad. And I was frustrated because I'm like, why couldn't you guys just take either of these films and like find some inspiration and just make these characters work? DC's animated films are great. Like, they really are. And I can vouch for that, because when I was 3, I loved watching Batman Mask of the Phantasm. That is still one of my favorite Batman films of all time. And that really set the precedent for me as far as DC, as far as comic book characters and backstories and things like that. And I was only 3. So I really hope that the DCEU comes together. I just hope they can figure out like what their plan is. Just, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to look like Marvel. Like, DC's success has nothing to do with Marvel. I just think they need to trust in their own vision. They need to trust in their own characters, these worlds, these like all of this, like, let it just come together, figure out the best way to tell it, to flesh it out and tell it, and you should be good to go. Get the right directors, get the right producers, get the right crew, and let's just let's get it going, because I'm rooting for the DCEU. I just think it's a different perspective, but I think it's a perspective that is clouded because no one really knows what's going on. Like, what are we doing to really push the DCEU forward? So hopefully they can figure that out, and I hope that this film is a step in the right direction. The Suicide Squad will be released simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max August 6th. So you guys already know I'll be watching, and I will definitely be here to give you guys my thoughts. So once again, this is D, Movieman, signing off, and I'll see you at the movie.